What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Oh my goodness me. The reason I am 3 minutes late from the time is because not only do we have breaking news in this lunchtime hour today that Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani has submitted a fifth bid for Manchester United earlier this week, but also we're just hearing now in the last couple of minutes that Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe also have entered the final stages of negotiations with the Rain Group to secure Manchester United as well. This is a big developing story, lunchtime hour story. Let me know your thoughts. Get the likes up immediately. Subscribe bottom right hand corner. A lot is going on at the moment. That's why we're trying to I certainly am trying to wrap my head around all of this because it feels like we are in the end game maybe, and both sides are getting desperate. Both sides are throwing, when you cook spaghetti and you throw it up the wall and you see what sticks and what doesn't stick. Wow, there's a lot going on. There is ultimatums going on this lunchtime. There's ultimatums of not just a bid going in, but if you don't accept or respond to my bid by Friday, I'm out. That's coming from Sheikh Jassim. You've also got Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying that he's the front runner and he's entering into the final stages of Manchester United at the moment. It's all, as Flex once said, it's all going off. It's all going off this lunchtime. Let's get straight into it. You've come here for the news. I'm going to give you the news as much as I can as this goes on. This might be a bit sort of scattered with everything that's going on because, as I mentioned, I've just gone live. I've had a look at what's going on and I'm trying to process this like you in real time. So if anything else has come up, do let me know. But let's start off with an exclusive that was broken by who else but Mike Keegan this lunchtime. He said Qatar's Sheikh Jassim submits a new bid for Manchester United and critically sets a deadline of this coming Friday, 48 hours. He wants an answer in the hope of beating Sir Jim Ratcliffe in their £6 billion takeover battle. Yes, this is, crazy. I've got to breathe. What's going on? I'm gonna pass out here on stream. Now, the Qatari Sheikh who wants to buy Manchester United has submitted a further bid and has set a deadline of Friday. In a major power move, what's been described as a major power move to seize control of the Premier League giants, Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani has submitted the offer directly to the club's owners, the Glazer family and Rain Group, the American bankers managing the long-running saga. According to Mike Keegan, he understands the Sheikh has also told those involved that he will engage up until Friday. I'm willing to discuss, I'm willing to negotiate, I'm willing to talk until Friday. After then, the bid will stand, it will always stand, but there will be no further negotiations, nothing more. I wash my hands of this entire process. I don't want anything else more to do with it. The bid will be there, but if you want to work this out, this is essentially what Sheikh Jassim is saying. If you want to work this out, if I'm really your preferred bidder, no more of this BS, no more of this back and forth, no more of using Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe as a pawn in your game, no longer weird 3D, 4D chess or anything like that. If you want to get this done, let's get this done in the next 48 hours. If not, the bid will be there and you can accept it at any point. I'm not talking to you anymore. Put up or shut up, ultimatum settings. The fifth bid was made by Sheikh Jassim, and as I mentioned, this is the fifth bid that's been made in total by Sheikh Jassim, since Mail Sport, according to Mike Keegan, revealed the details of the first bid way back in February. As always, the terms are pretty much exactly the same. It remains for total control of the club and is thought to include a significant further sum for investment on infrastructure and recruitment. As of right now, no preferred bidder has yet been chosen since the deadline, the final deadline of April 28th for final bids. That was ages ago. That was over a month ago. That was about 6 weeks ago. And you can understand the frustration, not only from Sheikh Jassim, but also from Ineos as well, saying, I thought that was the final round. I thought that was the final bid. Since then, this is the second bid Sheikh Jassim's put in since that final round and since that deadline for the bids anyway. Now, Sheikh Jassim's competitor, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, had been thought to be edging ahead in this process. It remains now to be seen if the latest high-stakes move is enough to persuade the Glazers to indeed part with the club. Now, you'll be asking me, Owen, talk to me about values, talk to me about numbers. How much is this new bid for? Of course, the Glazer family, they are understood to value Manchester United at £6 billion, and the offer from Sheikh Jassim, while improved, does not meet that figure, which many view as outlandish. So once again, we're into this territory of a new bid's gone in, it's improved, it's higher, but it's still not what the Glazers are looking for. But I guess the key thing this lunchtime is that Sheikh Jassim not only has put in this new bid, but the key thing is he said, I'm done with this. Enough with this drama. Enough with this saga. To be honest, it kind of reflects, I think, the fans' patience on all of this as well. I'm tired. I am so tired. We've been doing this since what? December? The club went up for sale. Strategic alternatives in December. We are halfway through the year. This has been going on for 6 months. The last round of bids were at the end of April. We are in June. We are heading in. Next week, it's going to be mid-June. This needs to end. And essentially what Sheikh Jassim is saying, I'm willing to give you a bit more money, but I want this done. I want this finished. I want this over. I have seen there's a Fabrizio Romano tweet. I'll get to that in just a second. But I think it's largely going to be the same as what Mike Keegan is saying here. There's been growing frustration of how long this sale is taking, especially given the imminent opening of the transfer window, which is also a very critical aspect of this. We'll get into that in just a second. But as I mentioned, this process of exploration of strategic alternatives started in November, not even December, November of last year. That's 7 months ago. It's understood that the need to strengthen Erik ten Hag's squad has played a major role in the Sheikh's latest and final move, what they're describing as his final move. He is keen to complete the takeover and arm the Dutch manager with significant funds ahead of the new season. Now, Mike Keegan again did do a follow-up tweet to this saying, quote, also, bid went in earlier this week, transfer window key. Now, of course, we here on the channel have started doing transfer shows. We did it this morning. Check it out. Flex myself. The transfer view is back. But the transfer window opens up, what is it, next week? It's the 14th. It might even be a week today, actually. Is it a week today? You can let me know. If that is the case, next week we're saying, is Sheikh Jassim saying, look, come on. It's near the end. The transfer window is nearly opening up. People are signing players. The season's over. The FA Cup's come and gone. The Premier League is finished. Let's get this done. Now, as far as a reaction for what the Glazers are looking for, I don't know. But again, that's going to be key as well. Now, you have said that Fabrizio Romano has tweeted, and as I mentioned, this is the fun thing of being live and I've done a lot of these takeover streams in real time. Fabrizio Romano, it's essentially the same thing as what was put out there, but we'll read it again. Sheikh Jassim submitted a fifth bid to buy 100% of Manchester United. It's an improved bid with a clear indication, take it or leave it. There will be no more bids from the Qatari group after this Friday. Sheikh Jassim will no longer engage in the process. And as I mentioned, it's that last bit. That's the key thing here. This is the key aspect. It's not necessarily the new bid, the improved offer, which you could argue is just out of almost respect maybe from Sheikh Jassim for this process, for what's going on. But it's really this end bit. I'm out. This really is take it or leave it. No more games. No more bullshit. No more, I'll put a bid in, I'll go a little bit higher, you'll say no, then something comes out about Ineos being close, and then I come back in again. No more of it. It's already gone on, a ridiculous amount of time. It's already been so prolonged and extended and muddied and whatever adjective you want to describe it as. It's already been all of that and then some. It needs to end. This thing needs to end. And even, as I mentioned, Sheikh Jassim as a United fan, would just be like, from a United fan's point of view, how can you move forward? The club right now is essentially frozen. Yes, it's business as usual. Yes, we're looking at transfer targets. Yes, we're talking about maybe 100 million, 150 million to spend in the summer. Yeah, we're talking about all that. But the longer term future, your rival club in the city this weekend, it's expected they're going to complete the treble. United's greatest accomplishment. And out here you are, the owners of this great institution, this iconic football club, global, biggest football club in the world. Forget brand values and what bullshit Man City's putting out there. You've got this gargantuan of a football club, and your rivals in the same city are about to complete the treble, and you're still haggling over pennies how much you want to sell this club for. You're going to become billionaires, and you're still going, we can get more out of it. It's gone on long enough. It needs to end. And now's the case of, I guess, for the Glazers, are they going to call Sheikh Jassim's bluff and go, he'll come back again. He'll come back again for more. But maybe he won't. And maybe that would then lead to either Sheikh Jassim winning it or Sir Jim Ratcliffe winning it. As I mentioned, there has been more coming out this lunchtime, not just about Sheikh Jassim, so I do want to get to that as well. We'll get to your super chats. I do see them coming in, but I think let's get to all of the news first, and then we can kind of digest it as well. So Jamie Jackson, also from The Guardian, who has been kind of all over it when it comes to the Qatari side of things in this whole saga, has said that Sheikh Jassim submitted a fifth bid earlier this week for Manchester United. He has set Friday as the deadline for the response. Otherwise, it's understood he'll disengage from the process. And when the journalists are all saying the exact same words verbatim, kind of does mean, doesn't it, that they've been told this. Actually, let me get the super chats out the way because I feel like I'm ignoring you, which is rude, Owen. Let's get to the top because I see there's a new member. There we go. Adam is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Welcome to Adam. We got so many new members this morning. So if you are just joining, you can watch episodes of UV Raw. You get your badges, your emojis, your exclusive members-only content. If you wish to join the UV Members Club, you can do so. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You can join there, and we'll get your comments up on the screen. Get members priority chat as well. A couple of other super chats here. Lawrence says, I'm feeling Arabic today. Well... Good for you, Lawrence. Ahmad's back. Says, I called Sheikh Jassim and twisted his arm to make another bid. At this rate, Ahmad, I wouldn't even doubt it. With the memberships that Ahmad is giving out today, I wouldn't even doubt it. United will be Qatari. Appreciate all of the support as always. He's the guy. He really is. And there is another one that I saw I missed. Descendant of the first crackhead says, it's good that Sheikh Jassim gave an ultimatum. It shows how he would run the club when he is the owner. He means business. Glazers are pricks. Glazers out. Well, I don't disagree with you there, certainly as well. Lux Hill says, Owen is excited. LOL. I am excited. It's just this is being a Manchester United fan, isn't it? It never ends. It never ends. There is always something. It's something always ongoing. It's crazy. It really is. We've got over 1,400 people watching, guys. If you haven't already, click that like button as well. We're only at 181 likes. I know we've only been live for like 12 minutes, but we can get the likes way up. I feel it in my bones today. I'm feeling it deep in my bones today. So if you haven't already, click that like button. Let's go to Ben Jacobs for what he's been saying. He's another one that really has been all over of this takeover process. Lots of people saying, here it says Owen's blood pressure is so high, his face is red. Probably sunburn. I was outside for 2 seconds earlier, so that would make sense. Yes, let's go to what Ben Jacobs has said. He has also said, Sheikh Jassim's 9-2 Foundation has submitted a fifth bid to buy Manchester United. It is an improved take it or leave it final offer. If there is no feedback or progress by Friday, Sheikh Jassim will no longer engage, which again is... I think the 9-2 Foundation have told everyone, not only have we put a bid in, but by the way, guys, tell everyone, spread the news, put it out there. If we don't hear anything back, we're out. And actually, thinking about it logically, they've all said the bid went in earlier this week. So there's a chance, actually, this bid might have gone in Monday, something like that. And we're now at Wednesday, and they probably haven't heard anything. So, and again, I'm speculating here. This isn't insider sources or anything like that. But what we could be looking at is bid went in earlier this week, Monday. They didn't hear anything for 2 days. And they went, right, tell the media. Tell the media we put that bid in. And tell the media what we've said to Rain and what we've said to the Glazers. We mean it. You've got 48 hours. Again, ultimatum settings. You've got 48 hours to get back to us or we're out. The offer's there, but we're not talking to you anymore. And we have heard these stories, haven't we, about... the 9-2 Foundation getting frustrated with the Rain Group, and the last offer reportedly didn't even go through Rain. It went straight to the Glazers. They picked up the phone and went, here's the fourth bid. Piss off, sort of thing. So that's going to be interesting as well. Now, Ben Jacobs continues by saying the latest offer went in earlier this week and is understood to be circa $6.5 billion with $1 billion of pledged investment on top. This is when we get back into this whole, how much is the bid actually worth? Is it with all the money all in on top of it? Is it, separate? That was a whole drama amid all of this drama. He continues by saying the 9-2 Foundation sources reiterate that their offer is for 100% of the club, is fully cash and transactionally simple. Cash. Imagine that. What's your offer? 6.5 billion... What did it say? Dollars. $6.5 billion. Cash. How do you count that out? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that down. 1, 2, 3. That's another billion. Put it down. 1, 2. That's a billion. Put it down. Cash. And would wipe all debts. Everything. Gone like that. The 92 Foundation sources point out their offer is at an enormous premium on the current share price. So that answers the question that I think someone might have put in for a super chat that I just see out the corner of my eye. William Turner says, I don't understand why Sheikh Jassim doesn't just pay $6 billion. Yes, the club isn't worth that. The Glazer parasites don't want to leave. And again, this goes back to this jockeying for position, doesn't it? That's what it comes back to, is in these giant negotiations, they still want to have a perception like they got a good deal, but none of this is football. The numbers we're talking about, when you think about it, the numbers we're talking about are so highly inflated anyway, and it's worth pointing out there, as I mentioned, that Ben Jacobs has said that they believe their offer is at an enormous premium. Well, of course it is. Isn't the market cap of United like 2.5 billion quid, something like that? I believe something like that. So, of course, $6.5 billion is a huge premium. And maybe this really is their ceiling, not of what they can spend. And I agree with you, William, in terms of frustrations of, clearly the guy's got the money. Clearly the guy's got the cash to do it if he wants to. But he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to feel like he's being messed around. And he's already been messed around a lot. Now, I do want to also give the other side to this as well, because it's not just going to be completely focused on Sheikh Jassim, because, as I mentioned, as I was going live, more of an update came out regarding Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos as well. And actually, the reasoning behind Sheikh Jassim putting in this fifth bid, this last bid, this take it or leave it bid, is actually because the understanding that he might be losing, and he might actually be in second place at the moment. And this is rather, in addition to being an ultimatum, it's a Hail Mary attempt to win over Manchester United's takeover saga and battle. This comes from Matt Lawton of The Times, who has said that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have entered final stages of negotiations with Rain to take over Manchester United. Again, that's kind of all the stuff I've got with that at the moment, but let me get this up so I can see if there's any more information as well. But they're suggesting, The Times are suggesting, as I mentioned, that Jim Ratcliffe is leading this race still. And again, maybe it's a case of, but then you've also got information from Mike Keegan saying there's no preferred bidder. And it's no coincidence that this both comes out, by the way, at the exact same time. I mean, it was almost instant. It was almost instant. Sheikh Jassim's put a bid in. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's leading the race. Well, which one is it? And I lean into, and as we've learnt, you and I, the UV community, myself, Flex, KG, Marcel, Minna, whoever it may be, have learnt throughout this entire process that everything that's put out there, take it with a pinch of salt, that's this big. This big. Because there have been bids that haven't then been put in, there have been prices that have been way off, there have been both people that have been leading the race and then not leading the race. There have been people that haven't been talking to each other. There have been people that haven't heard anything. Jamie Jackson, just a couple of days ago, I think it was like 2 days ago, was it? I think maybe a bit longer than that, said Sheikh Jassim's still waiting to hear back. He's heard nothing. Now we hear, he put in a new bid earlier this week. He said Friday, take it or leave it. And I have said myself that, in my opinion, whilst you could say, the Glazers, particularly Joel and Avram, they want to stay. The remaining Glazer siblings, the four others, they don't want to stay. They want out. They want to cash in their chips. They want to leave. So, and maybe that's why Sir Jim Ratcliffe is viewed as the front runner, because his bid values Manchester United at $6 billion, which is what the Glazers are looking for, and it would allow a path for Joel and Avram to stay at the club, or possibly all 6 Glazer siblings to stay at the club. This, that, and the other. But my theory and my belief rather has been throughout this whole time is that, from an outsider, very much an outsider looking in, it does just feel like, doesn't it, that Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are kind of pawns in this big game. As I mentioned, in this game of chess, every single time this report comes out that Ineos and Sir Jim are the front runners, a new bid comes in from Sheikh Jassim, almost to the point of they're being used as, we're going to give it to this guy. We're going to give it to this guy. We're going to give it to this guy. You realise that? Okay, I'll put another bid in. How much is it for? It's still not for $6 billion. Well, then I'm gonna give it to this other guy. I told you I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and then eventually it becomes a case of, well, do it then. Well, I'm still. You could put another bid. Well, no, I'm not. I'm not putting another bid. Well, I'll give it to them then. I'm going to. I swear I'm going to do it. Like when your parents says they're going to smash up your PS2 when you're younger. I'm going to throw it out the window. Well, you're not, are you? Unless you clean this room, I'm going to throw it out the window. Well, last time you did that, and I was crying, and you didn't do it. Well, this time I mean it. I'm going to do it this time. Exactly. Criminal of what's going on. My point being is, it does feel like, doesn't it, that they're being used. But their point of view might be that PS2's already broke. That's true. I lost my track of thought because I was thinking about the PS2 being held out the window. That never happened to me, by the way. It didn't. That never happened to me. So, yeah. I missed the super chat as well. From William Turner again, saying Sheikh Jassim has the money. If you want something so bad, pay for it. Ratcliffe does not have the money to buy the club. Ratcliffe does not have the money. I understand the frustration with that. I do. Lots of people saying close the window. You know what's wild, guys? Yeah, the window's closed. I never have that window open. My window's open here for that very reason, because it's very loud outside. It's just like I live just off a main road. It's inevitable. Usually that's what's good when I'm on 2-person streams, is I can mute myself, but very frustrating. I can't do anything about it, unless I start attacking siren cars on the outside. And people do need to remember as well, like Love says, I live in the basement of a police station. That's true. That is accurate. So there you go. How many likes are we on at the moment? We are at, we've got over 1,400 people watching, 292. I'm going to be like the Glazers. I want 6 billion likes. I want 6 billion likes in this stream. What is the record for likes on a video on YouTube, by the way? I'm getting really distracted, Owen. Shape up. Come on. Focus. If you are just joining us, guys, a 5th bid has come in from Sheikh Jassim this lunchtime. Well, actually earlier on in the week as well. Let me recap for those that are just joining us. So, developing news this lunchtime that Sheikh Jassim has submitted a 5th bid. Once again, Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani has submitted a 5th bid for Manchester United. His offer, though, is different this time, not in terms of terms. It's for 100% of the club. It's cash. It would wipe all debt. It's for everything. Glazers out. Nobody remains. He wants to support the manager. The transfer window opens next week. He's conscious of that. He wants to get this done. He wants this saga to be over. Because of that, the offer still stands as per usual, but it comes with a Friday take it or leave it deadline. After that, the offer will still be there if the Glazers change their mind, but he will no longer have engagement in the negotiations, which is a bold move. A very bold move. And whilst the new bid is improved and those numbers, again, have still been somewhat disputed already, this is the frustrating thing of it as well, is people put in like pounds and dollars, sometimes euros, and you start saying to yourself, well, what is it? Seriously, what is it? Nevertheless, Sheikh Jassim's latest offer for Manchester United, while improved, does not meet the Glazers' £6 billion valuation. The needs to strengthen Erik ten Hag's Manchester United squad has played a major role in Sheikh Jassim's latest bid. He is keen to complete the takeover and arm the manager with significant funds. Sheikh Jassim's latest offer for Manchester United, as I mentioned, this comes from Ben Jacobs. No one else has really actually put a number on it, as far as I'm aware just yet. That might change in the next few minutes. But his latest offer for Manchester United is around $6.5 billion plus $1 billion pledged investment. So unless I'm mistaken, unless I'm not reading that correctly, they're saying it's $6.5 billion with that $1 billion on top. So it's not like, $1 billion of that is pledged investment. They're saying plus $1 billion on top. So a total pledged investment, a total pledged amount of $7.5 billion. But at the same time, that $1 billion of pledged investment, the Glazers could give two shits about that. Apologies. They couldn't care less about that because that's got nothing to do with them. That's money that's not going in their pocket. So why would they care? And this is the thing. I think it was Ben Jacobs or it was Mike Keegan, one of them had said previously, that whole bit afterwards, about, wiping debt and about investing in the training ground and investing in the stadium, rehabilitating the stadium or building a new one and transfers, what have you, you might as well not put that in your manifesto when it comes to the Glazers, because they don't care. They don't. It's like, for them, it's like going out for dinner at a restaurant. They don't care about what you've ordered. All they go to is the total at the bottom. That's all the Glazers care about. They don't care about future plans. They don't care about the desire of Sheikh Jassim to take Manchester United back to the promised land and win Premier League titles and Champions League titles and compete with Manchester City and do whatever, in this new look footballing landscape, which is ever evolving, let's face it, at the moment. They don't care about that. They don't care at all. All they care about is how much are we getting. So realistically, let's forget that $1 billion of pledged investment. $6.5 billion is the amount, which again is still below what the Glazers are looking for. But at the same time, again, if you are just joining us, it's not just all Sheikh Jassim stuff. Matt Lawton from The Times is also reporting that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have entered the final stages of negotiations with Reign to take over Manchester United. So depending on how you look at it, it might be a case of Sheikh Jassim's put in this fifth and final bid with the Friday deadline to say, I'm tired of this being long-winded and just nothing happening. I want this done by Friday. If it's not, I believe that you're going to sell to me anyway. They've been confident from the start, seemingly. They've always said that. Let's get this done by Friday. If not, F you, basically. Or it's a case of they've once again heard, and legitimately heard this time, that Sir Jim and Ineos are indeed the front runners, and they've entered into these final stages of these negotiations, and they're thinking, crap, right, let's get this done quick. Let's put the ultimatum on them. Let's get this done. But I don't necessarily completely lean into that, because if they really, 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 really wanted to get this done, they would give the Glazers what they want, and they've still yet to do that. They've still yet to give the Glazers exactly what they want and what they're looking for at the moment. I'm hearing that there might be some updates regarding this coming. As I mentioned, this is a developing story. Appreciate you joining me live this lunchtime, Wednesday, 7th of June. Simon Stone has tweeted, of course, that being Simon Stone from the BBC Sport. He said, not gonna do it. Said, obviously there are other views on this, but Sir Jim's team regard their offer for 100%. Oh, Sheikh Jassim's SJ to me is Sir Jim, but he said Sheikh Jassim. Simon, come on, the same initials for both. SJ. I'll start again. Obviously, there are other views on this, but Sheikh Jassim's team regard their offer for 100% of the club, 100%, as transactionally simple, repeating it would clear debt and completely and provide additional funding for players and stadium, etc., which again is kind of what we had just said previously as well. What do you guys think? We'll get some of your comments up on the screen in just a second. Simon Stone also saying what has been put out there, that Sheikh Jassim is threatening to walk away from the bidding process on Friday. The fifth and final offer for Manchester United has been submitted. So let's get some of your comments as well. Just double check I'm up to date with super chats as well. I've got one more here from Love. Big up Love. Says record likes on YouTube is Despacito, 51 million by the way. We can beat it today. We can beat it. Imagine that. What's the record number of likes on YouTube? It's actually for a Sheikh Jassim fifth bid submitted on United View. If you haven't, click the like button as well, and be sure to subscribe. So yeah, let me know some of your thoughts on this, and let me know whether you think that Friday we get the news that okay, the Glazers relent. They've accepted Sheikh Jassim's offer, or do you think, like has been the case throughout this entire process, Friday will come and go and we'll be none the wiser and there'll be no news? Do you think that Sir Jim is going to win this race? Do you think this is desperation? Do you think it's desperation or frustration from Sheikh Jassim? Or is it a combination of both? Let me know and we'll get to your comments up. Let me put a poll in the chat as well. Simply, who's going to win? Who will win the takeover race? Is it going to be Ineos / Sir Jim? Or is it going to be Sheikh Jassim? That's the question. And with this poll, I'm going to set ground rules here. I'm going to say, vote with not who you want to win the race, but who you think. Who do you think will win this race? Okay? poll is going in the chat. Poll is in the chat. Vote. Who will win the takeover race? Will it be Ineos / Jim, or will it be Sheikh Jassim? And again, not who you want, because who you want's different. Who you think is going to win as well. I'm getting news that there is yet another tweet. This is fun when this is happening live, isn't it? Jamie Jackson has tweeted once again, saying, crunch time says a person close to the Glazers sale. He's actually said personage. But it's crunch time says a person close to the Manchester United sale. Now, he hasn't said that this is how they're close to the sale, i.e., is it they're close to Sheikh Jassim's side of things? Are they close to Sir Jim Ratcliffe's side of things? Are they close to the Man United side of things? Are they close to Rain? But they're saying it's crunch time, which, to be honest, when you get a take it or leave it offer, a legitimate ultimatum of Friday, you let me know Friday whether or not you're going to accept my offer, or I'm not talking to you anymore. That's crunch time. Hopefully, finally, as Doctor Strange said in Infinity War, we're in the end game now. Now, hopefully no one has to dust away and fade from existence, because that would be quite OTT for this takeover saga. But frankly, at this point, anything's possible. You know, we're into multiverse settings, I feel like, especially when we're talking wealth this high. As Jamie Jackson had said previously, Sheikh Jassim submitted a fifth bid earlier this week for United. He has set this aforementioned Friday deadline for a response. Otherwise, it is understood he will disengage from the process. So no more bids is his stance. And the implication, which is quite interesting that he followed up on that tweet around sort of 12 minutes later or so, saying that the implication of above is take it or leave it, but this is business. So ... And I think essentially what he's trying to suggest there is that whilst it may be an ultimatum, and whilst he may say take it or leave it, it is business. So you never know. Maybe he gets a response by Friday, but it isn't necessarily the response he's looking for, but it's closer. Like, what happens if Rain and the Glazers do get back to Sheikh Jassim by Friday and they say, look, we're not accepting that offer, but you're really close. All we're saying is one more bid. What happens then? The ball would be back into Sheikh Jassim's court. And actually, I wouldn't rule that out, honestly. I wouldn't rule out that scenario happening. Sheikh Jassim says, take it or leave it, the ultimatum. The offer's there. This is my fifth and final bid. I'm tired of this process. I'm tired of the Rain Group. I'm tired of the Glazers. I want this club. This is the best offer for the club. This is wiping all the debt. You've got a manager there and a playing staff and a club and a fan base that's had a good season, but they can be better. They deserve better, and they need to be better. And so I'm willing to do this. Let's get this done Friday. And then the Glazers come back and go, okay, we'll get back to you. We're getting back to you. By the way, this is probably like Friday, 11:59 p.m. So still technically on Friday, bastards. And then they would say something like, you know, we're not accepting it, but, you know, all we're saying is one more. All we're saying is one more. All we're saying is just, you know, we're saying it's going to be you. And we're happy to give it to you, and we feel like we've come through this process. It's been a journey. Oh, this has been a heck of a journey, hasn't it? Bloody business, I tell you. But we're still not just there on the price. So maybe if you just go up to, you know, this. You put $6.5 billion. Let's just say $7. Let's say $7 billion. Then we'll do on it. Handshake, put it right there. And maybe that's what they'll do. So part of me does feel like the ultimatum might not be totally ultimatuming this Friday. Which, if that is the case, I don't know. But to be honest, if that meant that it was still closer to being done, I'd take it. Because I don't know what to believe at this point. I'm not sure. I don't know. Vicky says, seems like gaslighting to me if that's the case. And that seems like this whole takeover saga has been to me at this point. This has been such a debacle of the highest order, hasn't it? Really. And it's madness. It is. The fact that it's, you know, the 7th of June, lunchtime, out of nowhere. Oh, a bid went in earlier this week. It's Friday. Take it or leave it. And everyone's going, what? What's going on? Only United. And I understand takeover situations can be messy. And I understand there are NDAs. And I understand because there are NDAs, there's stuff people can't talk about. So there is hearsay and there is back and forth and there is, well, we don't know what's going on, this, that and the other. But it's just United just take it to another level, don't they? Another level in terms of a debacle. And it's It is almost embarrassing, isn't it? And when you've got friends, I'm sure we all do have friends that aren't United fans, and they say to you, oh, what's going on with that takeover situation? And everyone goes, I don't know. I don't know. They go, that's crazy, isn't it? And I go, yeah, it's crazy. Do you know what's going to happen? I don't know. I have no idea. The Real Game of Death, which is a very aggressive name. But I guess death is quite real. It's not a game, though. It says, no one is united. No one is united. Everyone's different opinions. B1. Not sure what that was, but yes. In terms of the vote, in terms of the poll in the chat, the question was, and it's only been in there for 5 minutes, saying who will win the takeover race. And as I mentioned, not who you want to, but who you think will win the takeover race. Ineos / Jim or Sheikh Jassim. So far, 69% of you saying Sheikh Jassim will win that takeover race, which is interesting. Which, honestly, though, I'm not as confident as the poll. I don't know which one this way is going at the moment. Again, my feeling is, and this is kind of it was after that fourth bid went in, I thought, oh, I think Ineos are being sort of made mugs of here, to be honest. I think that the Glazers know that there's only one person involved in this takeover saga that could actually give the Glazers what they want and the number that they're wanting, and it's not Ineos. It's Sheikh Jassim. That's really the guy that can actually give them this astronomical number that they're looking for. Not Sir Jim. I mean, don't you find it quite ironic that all of these sort of minority bidders, Carlisle, Elliott, where are they at the moment? They're gone. They are totally gone from this entire process. They weren't even part of that third and final round, lots of bids, because they said, oh no, they're subject to a different deadline. But the minority, that's off the table. Almost to the extent that actually, every time those minority reports came out, not the film, but every time those reports of minority bids came in, that kind of felt like that was to push these other actual big bidders on, because they're nowhere to be seen at this point, are they? They're nowhere. What are they doing now? Are they even in the race? I'm sure if you asked, you'd probably get the Rain Group put out something to the media to say, oh no, they're still in it. They're talking in the background. They're not in it. Of course they're not in it. You know, the Glazers want 6 billion quid. That's what they've always wanted. And every single time it feels like a bid's come in from Sheikh Jassim, another thing comes out to say, oh, there's other people, minority bids or Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and then another bid comes in. So after a while, it becomes pretty obvious what the game is, really, isn't it? You know? So it would appear that Sheikh Jassim's getting very tired of this tedious process, like all of us. I don't know about you. I'm so run down by this takeover situation. You know, unless stories like today come out where a bid has gone in, you go, great, okay, that's worth talking about. But when it comes back to, we still haven't heard anything, you just go, fuck. Oh, it's draining. It really is. Absolutely draining. DJ, big up DJ in the chat. DJ Talks says, if I had 3 wishes, I'd actually consider using one of them for Sheikh Jassim to take over. 3 wishes. I'd ask for an infinite amount of wishes. Then I wouldn't even have to worry about the 3, to be honest. You can tell I thought about it a long time. Nathan with the super chat, big up Nathan, for the contribution, says, do you think the reason they want 6 billion is for each of them to take 1 billion each? Maybe that's part of it as well. It might be something to do with that. Maybe that's the number. I'm not sure. But also it's a case of what do you believe? Because there's also been, again, those reports out there that, you know, the Avram and Joel are looking for a specific amount of money to buy out their siblings because their siblings want out and they want to stay. There were also at one point, you remember that report that came out and said, oh, it's all a process for the Glazers to get another loan and they want to get the share price up before getting a loan, which I thought, is that illegal? I'm not sure about that. But speaking of the share price, that will be really interesting today, actually, won't it? Is that I'm sure, and again, it's no coincidence that this has come out. When does the New York Stock Exchange open? Is it 2 o'clock at 9 a.m. or is it just open now? Either way, I get a feeling this news has just come out before the New York Stock Exchange is open. Shock. So today, what drives share prices up? It's obviously good business news, like quarterly results, but also what drives share prices up it's takeover stuff. I saw this with the WWE. Every time there was talk of takeover, the share price went through the roof like that. So I'm sure today, Rashid says 1 hour's time. So there you go. So it's no coincidence this come out before then. So I'm sure today the share price will go through the roof like this, because they'll think, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. Because in these long stretches of time where nothing has happened, or those reports have come out suggesting, oh, the Glazers might stay, they're considering staying, what's happened to the share price? It goes whoosh, it goes right back down. So today the share price will go back up. And if Friday comes and goes with no development once again, then the share price will go. It's crazy. It really is. Let's see what some of you guys are saying as well. Not just doing super chats as well. Oh, we've also got another bit of a story here. Here we go. This is also the fun of being live, isn't it? Is that we can do this in real time. So this is from Martin Lipton, who is saying that, as I mentioned, Sheikh Jassim promises additional funding for transfers, infrastructure, and other investment requirements, which he feels the Ineos bid cannot match. Bit of shade towards Ineos as well, suggesting they might have enough to buy out the majority of the Glazers shares and therefore have the majority ownership of United. Excuse me. But at the same time, they might not have the funds to invest in the summer, which is what we've been saying quite a lot as well. Is that the money involved here is so astronomical that Britain's wealthiest man is not even wealthy enough, really, in this situation. Yes, he might have he doesn't have enough because he's securing it through loans, through various banks, and that's not even to acquire all of Manchester United. That's just to acquire the majority of the amount, so he would be in control. But then what happens when it comes to transfers in the summer? Then what happens when it comes to investing and rejuvenating that stadium? Then what happens when it comes to the work at Carrington? What happens when it comes to the women's team? What happens when it comes to the academy? Do you have that kind of money? Do you have that kind of wealth? Do you have pockets that deep? And there are still question marks surrounding all of that as well. Another development in this lunchtime show. This comes from L'Equipe in France, which is significant too, because of course we do know there is a big Qatari presence in French football, that being the owners of PSG. And whilst they're separate from Manchester United, separate entities, so there wouldn't be a conflict of interest, of course, because Sheikh Jassim is a private individual and he set up the 19 Foundation to really facilitate this takeover attempt. They are suggesting, though, according to L'Equipe out in France, that Qatar's offer is 5.8 billion euros, with an additional 1 billion euros injected into the club's development and infrastructure. So, wait, what? Oh, now this is my point. No one can actually get. I understand no one can properly give an actual amount, but we're getting into currencies and all this kind of stuff. So let's do dollars to euros. This is what we've got to. Dollars to euros currency. So they said it was 6 billion 500. Now I've got to do all the zeros. 1, 2, 3. So that's around 6 billion euros. Is that the correct kind of conversion rate? You might have to know, but it's close. It is close. $6.5 billion is pretty close to 6 billion euros. But they're saying it's a bit less than that. They're saying it's 5.8 billion euros. If anyone actually can do that conversion better than I, but that still seems low. And what's that to pounds? Wait a minute. Dollars to pounds. This is what it's come to, folks. Pounds. Why can't they all just have one same currency? That's like what, 5.2 billion pounds. Still way off, isn't it? 5.2 billion quid, and the Glazers are looking for 6. Plus an additional, as I mentioned, pledged investment on top of that. But to the Glazers, that doesn't matter. They don't care at all about that. So forget that 1 billion thing on the side of it. 5.2 billion quid. Do you think 5 billion quid, 5.2 billion quid will be enough, if indeed that is the number? But now, now, Jamie Jackson is saying, wait a minute, it's 6 billion pounds. Oh, this is what I'm saying. Who do you believe at this point? We've got some people saying it in pounds, people saying it in euros, people saying it in dollars. Then the conversion of euros to pounds is 5.2. Now, Jamie Jackson is saying Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani has submitted an improved fifth and final offer of no more than £6 billion to buy Manchester United this week. So is that the ceiling? I don't... What is it? I don't know. Remember, of course, as well, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's offer, his bid on the table, is not this amount. I don't believe it is. Because that had been kind of miscommunicated out there in the past too. Is that, remember, his offer, I believe, is for 50% of United. So he would be the majority shareholder. And I believe that's for like 3 billion quid. So that's why they say he values United at the same valuation as the Glazers, which is why they were suggesting that he was the front runner. So that's worth pointing out there. But if Sheikh Jassim is putting an offer, even if it is on the low end of £5.2 billion, that's still a bigger offer than what Sir Jim is putting in. But there's an argument to be made, again, with Sir Jim's, there are these sort of clauses and contracts put in there to suggest that he could then eventually buy out the Glazers for a set price further on. Their remaining shares that could eventually total £6 billion. That's worth pointing out as well. Once again, Jamie Jackson has said that, as I mentioned, that this final offer will be no more than £6 billion. Hasn't said it is £6 billion. He also has then said, Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani has moved to decide that Friday is the cut-off point for any further engagement. As I mentioned, the implication being that if the bid is not accepted, he will walk away. Sources close to him describe it as crunch time. Sheikh Jassim is also conscious that if he is to become the owner, it should be as soon as possible to offer Erik ten Hag the optimum time to strengthen his squad in the transfer market, which we had said previously. So, again, what we're looking at this lunchtime, folks, and maybe I might not be interpreting this correctly. You can let me know if I am or I am not. But what we're looking at is a lot of disputed numbers here. We're looking at, they said £5.2 billion. What did they say? $6.5 billion. The L'Equipe said, what did L'Equipe say? 6 billion euros. I don't know. Alzed says £6 billion equals full package, 5.2 billion for the club and 800 million to invest. Right, that breaks it down. That does make a lot more sense, doesn't it? So 6 billion is including that investment. Right. So the question then becomes, do you think, and let me know, we'll get your comments up, do you think the Glazers will accept 5.2 billion pounds? We know their asking price is 6 billion quid. We know that's what they're looking for. That's the number. That's the magic number from the start that they've said £6 billion. Is £5.2 billion enough? Because again, forget that extra 800 million of planned and pledged investment, because that's not going to the Glazers. So if it's not going to the Glazers, they don't care. So we might as well not even consider that second half of it. Just think about the first number, the biggest number, the 5.2 billion. Is that enough? Or come Friday, when the ultimatum is set, will the Glazers say no? But that doesn't necessarily mean the end of the process. But there are people saying 5.8 billion pounds. Well, I don't. This is what I mean. So Ash is saying it's 5.8 billion pounds, Owen. But they've also people are saying the previous bid was 5.4 billion pounds. So wait. What? As Sing Game says, it's all a guess. Right, let's look at what Jamie Jackson is saying here. Was there a mistype or a typo? Well, let's actually read Jamie Jackson's article that he's written. Here we go. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani has submitted a take it or leave it improved fifth and final offer of no more than £6 billion to buy Manchester United this week, with the Qatari banker determined to disengage with the sale process on Friday if it's not accepted. Sheikh Jassim and his advisors have become frustrated with the drawn-out process overseen by the Glazers. Haven't we all? Who put the club up on the market in November. The Guardian has been told this has moved him to decide that Friday is the cut-off point for any further engagement. The implication being that if the bid is not accepted, he will walk away. Sources close to Sheikh Jassim describe it as crunch time, which again is kind of different from what Jamie Jackson had tweeted, because he said sources close to the sale said it was crunch time. He's saying that those sources are actually close to Sheikh Jassim. Right. Sheikh Jassim is also conscious that if he's to become the owner, he should. We spoke about that, about supporting Erik ten Hag. Given the protracted nature of the process, which includes extended deadlines, it is unclear whether Sheikh Jassim would end his interest should his self-imposed Friday deadline not be heeded. In line with the previous offers, the latest one is for 100% of the club. One possibility is that he fears losing out to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the only other publicly declared bidder who wishes to purchase a controlling interest in United, and so the improved offer is a last attempt to become proprietor. Ratcliffe, the Ineos owner, wants to acquire about 51% of United and potentially leave one or more of the Glazers with a minority share. The Sheikh believes that his offer would erase debt of around £1 billion is in cash, offers a separate fund for player, infrastructure and other investment requirements. Given the high value of each share, it is the better option. So again, he didn't actually say, he just said no more than £6 billion. No more than £6 billion. Well, this stream kind of sums up this takeover process, doesn't it? And again, I think we're caught up with Jamie Jackson's tweet. I see people saying, oh, here we go. Wow, this is an interesting development as well. So Jamie Jackson has also just tweeted 1 minute ago, saying he understands that Ineos are talking directly with United and Sheikh Jassim's camp, perhaps not. Which is basically what Matt Lawton of The Times was saying earlier on, when he was saying that... here we go. This is what the Times had said, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have entered the final stages of negotiations with Reign to take over Manchester United. So Jamie Jackson is basically backing up what the Times had been saying there, in that Ineos and Sir Jim, they're talking directly with United and Reign, I guess, whilst Sheikh Jassim isn't, which is maybe putting more weight into what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that actually this could come out of frustration. This fifth bid could come out of frustration from Sheikh Jassim, but in actuality, it could also come out of desperation as well, in that he's realizing I'm losing. I'm losing this race. And in an effort to make a last-minute Hail Mary attempt to get this done, he's put an improved bid in and put a deadline. Let's get it done by Friday. Whereas it looks like... according to Jamie Jackson and The Times, that Sir Jim and Ineos are actually talking directly with United and with Reign. And that might be about, as I mentioned, the complexity of this takeover bid, because this is also something that Sheikh Jassim is saying, isn't he? And the 9-2 Foundation are saying. They're saying that in addition to their bid, in their opinion, being better for Manchester United in terms of wiping the debt, being in cash, being cleaner, they're saying it's going to be quicker. We can get this done quickly. There's no real complications surrounding this. Whereas in comparison, Ineos and Sir Jim's bid is far more complex, because they're talking about taking 51% share, but also which Glazers, some Glazers may want to leave. So are certain Glazers going to be bought out? Which Glazers are going to stay, if not all of them? What happens to other shareholders within the business as well? It's more complicated to do. And as he's saying, Sheikh Jassim as well, kind of, I guess, pulling on the heartstrings of these Man United fans, they're saying that you can't afford to have a more complicated process than has already been so drawn out and so long anyway. We're in the transfer window opens up next week. This needs to be done. Your future needs to be sorted and solidified. You can't afford to be dragging this out even further. To those people, to those journalists, remember those reports coming out in March? It will be done by Easter. It can be done by Easter. Next Easter, maybe. Not this past Easter. If I was eating my Easter egg at this point, it'd be rotten. Just like United. Just like Old Trafford at this point. Easter. Can you believe it? Unbelievable. I've got some super chats, and I think there's been a madness in the chat as well, so I have to check that out. But let me get the members chat first. There was one here. From Rashid's been a member for 1 month. Appreciate 1 month of support. Says each of the ponytail Degans will get almost $1 billion each. They have to take it and go away. I've seen Vicky's done a mad. Vicky's jumping on the. Today's been a crazy day, as you can tell, yeah? We've got over 2,100 people watching at the moment. Let's get to 750 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Today has been a monumental, crazy day on United View. This morning in the transfer view, I think we got like over 130 new members, thanks to the generosity, support, and kindness from Ahmad and from VK. And now Vicky's doing the same. Has gifted 10, count them, 5, 10, 10, the perfect 10 UV memberships. So shout out to all of those people that got those memberships. See if I can see them. Craig, Chinmaya, Winters, Jedi Pyro, Naim, Ari, Alice Mueller, Gavin, Mike, and Adin. I think they're the ones that were fortunate enough to be gifted the membership. So shout out Vicky. Long-time supporter, moderator, supporter here on the channel. And as me and Flex were talking about this morning, it's just been the support and the community here. I know it's so cliche, and I know every YouTube channel says it outside of fan content. They say our community is the best and all that kind of stuff, but truly, this is. I'm not gonna do the Vince McMahon thing. Was special. This is special. This is special. The community that we've got here is just incredible. And coming out of this season, me and Flex were talking about this the other day, just the second season. This is only the second season United View has ever done. And the fact that we've got such an incredible community here, and the growth and the support and the love, it really is fantastic. And also to do it our way. Like, I've gone off on about 10 million tangents on this video. I've been gone on, you know me, I'm terrible with this kind of stuff. I get distracted so easily, but we're all unabashedly ourselves. And that's what I love about this community. Everyone's welcoming, everyone's allowed to be themselves and have fun. As much as drama and stress, as my blood pressure goes through the roof when we talk about all of this takeover stuff, we get to have fun as well. And that's the most endearing thing about all of this. It really is. Josh Wearing has been a member for 11 months. 11 months of support. Shout out, Josh. Says, how can someone lose with a bottomless pit of money? Sheikh Jassim needs to compete with Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Glazers want more money. Duh. Well, that is the thing as well, isn't it? And I think that is the frustration that a lot of people are talking about, aren't they? And I share that frustration. I do. In that, you do have this guy in Sheikh Jassim, and I understand the wanting to not have the piss taken out of you, essentially. I understand wanting to get the best deal, and I also understand that, as they have said in clearly their sort of briefings to all of these journalists today, that their offer, they believe, is substantially overpriced, and it's a massive premium on how much Manchester United is actually worth and all that kind of stuff. But at this point, you are so close, aren't you? You're not a million miles away from what the Glazers are looking for. And I know no one wants to give them what they're looking for. You don't want the bad guys to win. In most movies, the bad guys don't win. Unfortunately, this isn't the movies, it's real life. The bad guys do win quite a lot. And if you're offering, again, the numbers are disputed. If it's £5.2 billion or if it's £5.8 billion, particularly if it's £5.8 billion and the Glazers are looking for £6, then you would go, look, you are basically there. You are really not far away. Just give them what they want. Just give them what they want. They can go test their resolve. $6 billion on the table. See you later. But, some people, Splashnet says, I respect them for not, cowering to the Glazers' demands. I respect them for not giving in. And I respect them for going, look, because if they're real, true United fans, they won't like the Glazers. They're like, get out of a club, you leeches. Look at me. I'm having to come in here. I'm having to wipe out all of this debt that you've put on the club that I love, that I support, that I like. I'm having to give you money that I don't want to give you. I don't want to give you this, but I have to. It's a necessary evil. And maybe they just want that little bit of a win over the Glazers. But ultimately, we know that the Glazers do get what they want. They always do. They will get what they want. And maybe that's what they're still thinking is, we're still going to get what we want. We're still going to get that $6 billion. One way or another, we're going to get it. Whether that's upfront, cash, end of the week from Sheikh Jassim, or whether it's over 3 or 4 years with Ineos and Sir Jim. Because according to those reports previously with Ineos, as I mentioned, there are those, I forget what they're called. they're not buy-sell clauses. There are some kind of clauses where essentially it would be agreed upon ahead of time across a 2 to 3 year process how much it would require to be fully bought out of their shares, which they're saying would be around 6 billion. But they would never get that because the Glazers don't own 100% of United. They have the majority shareholding, which is 69%. So realistically, are they ever going to get 6 billion from Sir Jim? They're probably not. As G said, put and call options. Thank you, G. That was it. Put and call. I think it was that. Or Blux Hill says buy and call. It was something and call. Definitely something and call. One way or the other. Would they ever going to get 6 billion with that? Because if Sir Jim's bid is for 50% or 51%, and that's 3 billion quid, yes, he values Manchester United at 6 billion, but the Glazers wouldn't get 6 billion overall anyway because they don't own 100%. So is Qatar the best option from that point anyway? And maybe that's why Qatar are also so reluctant. I say Qatar, excuse me. Sheikh Jassim is so reluctant to go to 6 billion because he knows you're never going to get 6 billion. You're not getting 6 billion from the other guy. Yeah, he might value the club at 6 billion, but you're not getting 6 billion. You're not going to get that from either of us. Super chats. There's loads of them. This has been a very fun and interactive show, so I appreciate everyone getting involved here. Let's see here. Where are we at? So where are we at? Super chats. I know where the sirens are at. I thought I heard more sirens then for a second. Tavislow says, Sheikh, why not buy the club first and give F at all the departments and a new stadium? You don't have to fix everything tomorrow. Get rid of them first. Basically saying, just get it done first. I would agree. Killer says, what is the clear plan to eliminate debt if Jim's bid just adds more debt to the club? Owen, please don't ignore my super chat this time. Did I ignore your super chat the first time? Did I miss one? If I did, I apologise. I don't think I did. Unless you mean, there was one earlier on. Son of a bitch. Sorry. Apologies. Killer says, why is it only Qatar having to improve their bid? Doesn't sound like Sir Jim has improved his bid throughout the entire process. Maybe he's a pawn. Well, I agree. As I've said before, my feeling is he is a pawn. And apologies, I missed your super chat earlier on. Lots of moving parts. But it's no excuse, Owen. Be better. But yeah, I agree. You've never really seen Sir Jim launching improved bids. Although they have launched bids in every time. I don't know if they've said that they have been improved. But maybe it's just because the Glazers have always liked their bid. It's an option for them. Nathan with the super chat as well, saying, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe gets his hands on United, it's another decade of heartache. We will have another 10 years of make-do and stupid spending. Now, I believe also as well that we might have more tweets at the moment. By the way, we've still got over 2K watching. 2K watching on a solo stream, which is much appreciated as well. I know with the solo streams, they can be quite dry, listening to one person talk for the whole time, filibuster and monologue. Not for everyone, so I appreciate everyone tuning in this lunchtime. As I mentioned, if you haven't already, click the like button. See if we can get 1K likes. Yeah, anything's possible. This is a fun situation, isn't it? Certainly. Right. As I mentioned, we spoke about Jamie Jackson saying that Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos are talking directly with Manchester United and Sheikh Jassim's camp is perhaps not. What have we got here? Manchester United's main concern, this comes from Tyrone Marshall from the Manchester Evening News, saying Manchester United's main concern is that the continued uncertainty regarding the future of the club and the ongoing takeover talks have made it much more difficult to plan ahead, with budgets potentially affected by any imminent ownership change, which of course is obvious, but as they've said, it's business as usual, I guess. He continues by saying it's understood to be a fluid situation and things could change very quickly depending on any takeover developments or transfer market activity that could have ramifications at the club. Well, this is also something that I had said too, is that when it came to like player sales and actually player purchases, who's signing off on that? Because usually you hear these reports and these when you see those org charts, occasionally you get those org charts put out there by like the likes of Athletic, where they'll say like there's like Eric Ten Hag's here on the chart, and then he reports into like John Murtough, and he reports into Richard Arnold, and he reports into the Glazers or Avram or Joel Glazer, whatever. Who signs off on these player sales? Because previously there had been those reports that it was Joel and Avram Glazer who said, yep, sign him, or we're happy with that, or no, don't do that one. if they're intent on leaving, would they even care about what's going on at the moment? And in any takeover process, you have to be really careful about assets leaving the club at that time too, because it could potentially affect how much the entire company is worth. I myself worked for a company that owned lots of other companies, and they were selling one company that they owned to another company, and you basically couldn't do anything with this other company. I was working in recruitment at the time, and you couldn't recruit people from that company and couldn't move people over because it would potentially negatively or impact the sale price. So everything kind of went on hold. Now, from all of the reports that we've seen, clearly transfer talks and strategies are not on hold, because we've near enough agreed personal terms with Mason Mount, and Kim Min-jae, we're going to trigger his release clause on July 1st, and we've already nearly wrapped that one up, and possibly we might be looking at Declan Rice or Moises Caicedo or whoever. So clearly that stuff is going on, business as usual. But as I mentioned, at the same time, it still very much is like, who's going to sign off on everything? Who's going to do that? Because if the people who usually sign off are leaving, do they have any care or interest on signing that off? Can they actually legally do it? I don't know. All of this is a madness. We are 15, I think that's good maths, Owen, 15 likes away from 750, which is, that's not bad. That's not bad. It could be better. Good is not good enough, but that could be better. 10 now. Still over 2K watching. All Elite says, Owen the corporate champ. Never. Recruitment. Oh, challenging. Very, very challenging recruitment. Yes. Luxil says, Owen's been live for over an hour. Just Josh Media, graphics guru, visual ninja, and actually maybe one of the Spider-Men in the Spider-Verse somewhere, maybe. Kind of looks very Spider-Man-ish, actually, doesn't it, that? Sort of a mixture. Sort of Spider-Man, Batman of the future. Batman Beyond. Josh Morales for the future. Says, get it to 1,000. We can get it to 1,000 as well. Love says, hypothetical, but if I was to take over UV, how much? Well, I mean, it's how do you put a price tag on something that's priceless? You know, it's not my decision. Not my decision. That's a Fleck Alfani decision. Oh no, I've revealed Flex's last name. Fleck Alfani. Actually, Ed makes a good point. Ask Ahmad. He owns UV. After this morning, certainly. Definitely. He does. Ask Ahmad. Ahmad, if you're in the chat still, how much are you selling for? How many memberships would it cost for you to sell United View? I don't know. Would it be expensive? Anyway, guys, look, I'll wrap it up there. I appreciate you joining in and tuning in this lunchtime for this impromptu live stream regarding the entire takeover process, which I'm sure is going to be ongoing, is going to be developing. There's going to be more that comes out today. In the space of an hour and 7 minutes, what have we read? Like 5 articles and 50 million tweets, and that is only going to continue. But the countdown is on, I guess. T-minus 48 hours or so until Friday, and we'll find out, hopefully, a lot more about the future of Manchester United, particularly when it comes to, that's true, Love owns a minority stake as well, in the future of Manchester United. So, of course, we'll be covering it here on United View. If you haven't already, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Importantly, I would say, actually, click the notification bell, because given all of this stuff going on with transfers and also the takeover stuff, like today, we'll probably be going live at a drop of a hat like that. So if you don't want to miss out, regardless of where you are, whether you're in the gym, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whether you're on your summer holidays, or wherever you are, you'll be able to watch us. You'll be able to get a bit of an update on the latest going-ons when it comes to the takeover process at Manchester United. Anyway, we'll speak to you again very soon. There is going to be a live show later on today, 6 p.m. So we'll be back with more info then, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Peace!